Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It is Monday, April 21st. I was about to take a sip of my coffee, but never forget about the purple crystals. Never. The hourglass is going, baby. And I felt compelled to do a show because the world we live in right now is just so amazing. This left side, right side, Democrat, Republican, Elon Musk, the controversy. It used to be back in the day, there'd be, something happening, maybe a scandal brewing, a lot of attacking between the two parties, but nothing like today. I mean, because of social media and the stuff that gets out there and the stuff that people actually argue about is really insane. I find it so, it's kind of entertaining, but sad at the same time. And we're gonna take a look at one of those cases today. The Garcia deportation case. Juan Abrego Garcia was living in Maryland with his wife and 3 children when he was deported to El Salvador, thrusting his case into the center of a pivotal legal battle. The Trump administration has accused him of being a member of the Salvadoran MS-13 gang and used that in its justification for deporting him to his home country, despite a judge's order from 2009 barring him from being sent there. Okay, so I'm going to try to just break it down really quickly into layman's terms, because I've talked to you before about the Houdini effect, where really we're not going to jump out of a flying suitcase out of an airplane and end up in an elephant's stomach and, oh my gosh, how did he do that? So it's about getting your attention and keeping you off the subject, or keeping your attention elsewhere while you do what it is you're trying to do. And I believe this is what's going on here, and I'll explain. I know that sounds bizarre, but watch the Democrats and the people behind this make Houdini appear in the elephant's stomach somewhere else. It's coming. Coffee's really good this morning. Some mornings it's just better than others. You just take that sip and you're like, wow, I feel so good. Okay. So I have nothing against this boy or his wife, and they have children, and I have compassion, and I have a heart, and and all those great things. And I have worked closely with the Bukele administration on other issues and things that incentives filmmaking and stuff down there. I've actually sat and wrote legislation for the Salvadoran government. So I get it. The guy's in Maryland, and no matter what his past transgressions are, but there's law. There's things that are written, that are set, that you would have to change them or amend them if they're constitutional, and go through a process, the same as the immigration thing in the process. There's ways to do this. No one that I know, none of my friends, nobody that I'm close with, has ever said that they don't want any of these people to come either visit or become part of our country. But there's a way to do that. There's a proper way to do it. When you build a house, you dig the hole, you pour the foundation. Very, very important. The foundation, although it's not going to be seen, is what's going to hold the whole house up. You have to build the foundation a certain way to bear the weight. It's the same thing here. There's a fundamental way and a set of rules and processes for which you have to follow to become an American citizen. I have never wished any ill will on any of these people, this 20 plus million under the Biden administration that snuck over the border and came over illegally. So this kid, I think it was 2019, got a court to order from me that it would be dangerous for him to go back because of rival gang affiliation, certainly not his gang, but rival gang affiliation, that his life would be in jeopardy, blah, 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 blah. I don't know enough about that. I wasn't in the courtroom. I don't know his actual situation. I know that's the excuse or the ruling by which he used in order to seek sanctuary in the U.S. So he's in Maryland, blah, 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 blah. And I think it was a clerical error. It's really immaterial what the error is. And that anyone admits that it's an error. It sounds like there's an admission that there was a mistake made. He was mistakenly deported back to El Salvador. Here's a couple of the legal problems. He under surveillance investigation and has been identified as a member of this deadly gang. This gang that President Bukele and his people have gone out of their way with the bad reputation years ago about El Salvador to eliminate this problem. Now, in the US, because we've had a problem with MS-13 people coming here and committing crimes. They're now on the terrorist list. Now, this is really pivotal and important. If you're on that list, you're done. There's no exceptions to it. So it was a mistake. We mistakenly pulled this car over. We didn't see the registration slip, and then the back seat was 50 pounds of heroin. We're really sorry that we mistakenly pulled you over and that your tag was unclear or whatever. You get the gist of what I'm saying. Who cares? Who cares what happened mistakenly that got this guy sent back to El Salvador? They dug up the stuff on him, and he is a member of this gang. You don't accidentally get tattoos on your body that have gang affiliation and so on. And there's enough documented evidence that this kid was part of this gang. Trump, who's taking a hard stand against these types of people coming into our country, has now made it a law. It's the law. If you're affiliated with, it's a terrorist act, you're out of the country. That's it. That's number one. So whether it happened, unfortunately, for his wife and his children, and that's a terrible thing for those children, I agree. But it's the law. That's what we're doing to protect our children. Whether this guy has become reformed from the days that, and MS-13 has a reputation of doing some really bad stuff. I mean, go ahead and Google it, look up some of the things these guys have done. They've done some really, really bad things in El Salvador and in LA and around the world. And so they're pretty hardcore. Well, for our politicians, I want the job to be to keep us safe first, and then we can worry about the rights of this kid, because the law is very, very clear. He's out. So now let's fast forward a little bit. We move this kid back we send him to El Salvador, and it starts making news, particularly from the Democrat side, and wait a second, I love this because this is that Houdini thing. Here's where the suitcase is ending up in the elephant's stomach, like I said. Oh, look, how do you do that? A Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador by the Trump administration has been moved to a new prison, U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen has said. The Democratic senator was speaking after returning from El Salvador, where he met Juan Abrego Garcia and was sent to the notorious mega jail. So we get the picture. This senator from Maryland, where this Garcia guy was living, has decided now to spearhead the exploitation of the deportation of this man and bring it to national attention. And he's gonna spearhead this fight to get this boy back to the U.S., to his family and to his wife. And a couple problems. Let's understand the law. This is just break this down to a legal question. He's already been identified as a member of MS-13. That puts him on the terrorist list, which means he's out. Now, on the Salvadoran side, in El Salvador, Nayib Bukele has been recently with President Trump here in the Oval Office, and he has said, yeah, no, I'm not sending him back to the U.S. He's a Salvadoran citizen. He did not enter the U.S. legally. He did have this court order to protect him, which, by the way, I mean, I could go into picking that apart, but it doesn't matter. So being that he's now been identified on this terrorist list, any order that was made before to send him back or protect him is nullified because it's a federal order that says that he's a terrorist. Bukele has made it very clear he is not going to send him back. He is not going to, nor is he going, they asked Bukele, well, will you give him his freedom in El Salvador? And he went, we're not likely to put terrorists on the streets of El Salvador. This is what I fought so hard to change when we were the murder capital of the world. And now the safest place you can be. I mean, I've been many times, walked the streets of El Salvador, beautiful country, amazing what Bukele has done there, just amazing. So yeah, he's not getting out of jail there. He's not getting out. You do certain things in your life. You may get away from them. We watch these crime shows where they go, America's Most Wanted 30 years later, update. So-and-so was tracked down and recognized because of our show. You're going to pay in some way karmically, or the Lord, if you want to go to your religious beliefs, you're going to pay. Most of the time, very few people skate. This boy's history has caught up with him now. The things that he has most probably been a participant in or been in and around or affiliated with are some terrible things. And guess what? Listen carefully for those people on the left that are jumping on the bandwagon about this issue. He's not coming back here. He's not coming back here. So his wife and his kids should plan on either going there, and El Salvador's a really nice place to go to now. So maybe going there to see whether they can work on his case, down there with a lawyer and do what they need to do to get him out of prison. I don't know how long he's going to be in for. I'm not familiar with what his sentence is, nor do I particularly care that much about it because I'm worried about American lives, because I'm worried about things that are going on here. And I do lots of stuff to try to enhance the lives in El Salvador because I do business there and I have friends there and I care about a number of people that are down there. Again, second thing. First, he's on the terrorist list. Second, Bukelle's not letting him out. He's not getting out. He's not available to come for us to go down there and talk with the president. He's not coming. El Salvador's not going to let him go. They're not going to. So, but let's take a look at something that's really confusing to me as an add-on to this. So this senator from Maryland, Van Hollen, has decided to make it his personal mission to go down for an MS-13 gang member that resides in Maryland. Van Hollen hasn't visited one family, not one, according to what I read, of any of the soldiers, male or female, from the state of Maryland who've given their life overseas, veterans. He has not gone and contacted a single mother or father who lost their son or daughter. He's not gone to a funeral. He's not called anyone. He's not visited Maryland residents who have lost a limb or have suffered traumatic brain injuries, or none of that. He hasn't done any of that. These are residents of his state that have paid some the ultimate price. But he's flying to El Salvador to meet with, have cocktails. They were pictured, and it has been described, they were drinking together. And he's reporting in to this guy's wife to let her know and send her the missing husband's message of love. So just think logically about this. Why? Why would a guy who is proven, and I'm not saying anything about Van Hollen, I don't know him. I don't know the senator. I don't know, and I don't care. But the evidence about caring about these individuals, the evidence about families being torn up, about people mourning, about people being upset because of the outcome, live within his own state in many other ways. And there's no evidence that I've seen that he's done anything or cared about any of that. So why? Ask yourself this question. Why is this senator going there? What's really going on here? Because he doesn't care about this Garcia guy. I'll bet whatever you want about it. He doesn't care. He doesn't. If Garcia blew up on an airplane coming back from El Salvador because this senator got him to come back, I can't make the funeral. I got a tea time. Sorry, but I'm so sorry. So again, is that a fact? No, it's not a fact. Do I believe it falls somewhere under that category? Yeah, this is a grandstanding moment for this guy and for the Democratic Party to, again, get you to look over here and continue to try to find things about the Trump administration to slow the process down, to slow down what he's doing, which is he's changing it back to what it was supposed to be. He's changing it back to what it's supposed to be. If we get rid of this guy, if we get America to jump on the bandwagon about 3 kids and the wife, and it was a mistake and we're going to make an example. You couldn't have picked another guy. You couldn't have picked somebody else to make an example of. You picked this guy. This was the best example of what you were trying to pull off. And let me tell you what they're trying to pull off. Because this is, in my opinion, a fact. It's so obvious what they're doing. 20 million illegal immigrants came into this country under the Biden administration. They took airplanes and flew them to strategic places. Where would you find those strategic places and why did they pick them? Look at the last election. Look at the last election. There are counties in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, New York. There's county, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona. They need to change these very close elections. They need to change the outcome of them by flooding these people in, getting them registered by next vote, and then the Democrats will win because they put millions more people as legitimate voters if they get them registered and and who are these people going to vote for? Of course they're going to vote for the Democrats. Biden and his boys funneled them into the country, gave them cell phones, gave them homes, gave them stipends of cash. They're not going to vote for Trump or J.D. Vance. No, we're trying to get them out, and we want Americans. And if they become Americans, then yes, register and do it legally and vote. Vote for whoever you want to. Vote for whoever you want to. Get in here, get a job, contribute to the society. Don't be, an expense on everybody. I don't want to have to pay for your wanting political sanctuary. I don't want to pay for you wanting a better life. Make your life better yourself. You have an opportunity to do that here. In places, other countries, and it's not El Salvador. People are going back to El Salvador because it's such a great opportunity to be there now. When I sat with Nayib Bukele, in the equivalent of their White House, I sat and I said, the true sign of this will be, Mr. President, when people start coming back. That'll be the true sign of the change. He changed the landscape of the country as far as safety was concerned. They had terrible problems down there with MS-13, right in the city, and people were getting killed left and right. It was rough. It was rough, and he just put his fist down on top of it. He did. He ruled it with an iron fist, and he really changed it. And people fear him down there. The gangs and people in there, it's not like it was before. It's way different now. I've walked the city streets at night. Not a problem. No problem there. So the true test, Mr. President, will be when people come back to El Salvador. And they're starting to. They're coming back now. El Salvador there's opportunity there for them. I remember my friend Josefina told me that she left El Salvador and went to Los Angeles in the 80s because being a housekeeper was actually better than any option that she had in El Salvador at the time. And that's not true anymore. There's so much going on in El Salvador, it's great. But okay, now here's one that I wanted to mention. Actually, I'll come back to that. Listen to this. Trump administration border czar Tom Homan criticized Senator Chris Van Hollen's trip to El Salvador to visit deported Juan Abrego Garcia, accusing the Democrat of traveling on taxpayers' dime to meet with an MS-13 gang member, public safety threat, and terrorist. So, listen, I'm not as hung up on the taxpayer dollar thing. I think that it was a moot point. There was nothing that was going to happen. If Van Hollen had studied the law, if he had looked at the situation and where it was already. I mean, trying to block legally his leaving state or the country at that time through the court system here and different red tape that he might have been able to manipulate the system for however long he could have, that might have been smarter than waiting for him to go, waiting for him to get kicked out. I'm not sure where all the support was, but they're on this now. I promise you, they're on this bandwagon about this kid because they don't want people getting deported, to change what their plan was, which was to flood certain key districts and keep foreigners here, make them citizens, and change the outcome of the vote and take advantage of strategically putting them where they need them to sway the Electoral College. That's what they did. That's what I believe happened here. I really do. And this is what they're going to do. They're going to try to tie everything up, wait for rulings, and hold these people from being deported. And I don't think Trump's going to do that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to move forward with kicking out a bunch of people. There have been some laws that have been passed to insulate us and ensure us of as fair an election as we can possibly have in 2028. Where I believe Vance will probably be the Republican parties. And the bridge, watch how smooth this bridge was, will be who is the Democrats? Who's the Democrats' choice? There's where I worry as a former Democrat and as I analyze what's going on politically in the country right now. And I still yet to see anyone that's clearly jumping to the forefront of the Democratic Party. They're just in disarray right now. And I believe it's going to get a lot worse. I believe that you're going to see people that have been Democratic leaders that are not going to be insulated from the bombardment that's about to take place when certain documents are released and certain stories are verified. In that group will be, the Nancy Pelosi's, Elizabeth Warren, I think, is in trouble financially. There's records of how much money their families are worth and how much they've made while they've been serving, supposedly for a couple $100,000 a year as a congressperson or a senator or this or that, whatever they are. Yeah. No, bank records don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Follow the money. Follow the money. And then you're going to find out. Did Nancy Pelosi do illegal things with her husband and use her political situation? Did the Clintons, Hillary Clinton, her daughter's foundation? I don't know. Barack Obama. A lot of stuff coming out right now that looks like it's hot seat time for the Obamas. There's a lieutenant colonel or a major that has some bombshell stuff that's on the internet now. And I don't know what if it's true, what if it's not true. But if any of it's true, if any of it is true, the backdoor CIA deals that took place to get Barack Obama into office, and man, so it should be interesting to see what FBI documents are released and what the statute of limitations will be on that. But here's what surprised me after this senator from Maryland decided to go down and grandstand over this kid. Remember what I said, a senator that, from what I've been able to look up and find out, hasn't really done anything for Maryland veterans or, people that, how about how many raped or murdered Maryland residents that have been accosted by illegals that were in the country? Did this senator go to any of their homes? Did he attend any of their funerals? Did he call the mother or father or the husband or boyfriend or whatever and say, my God, I'm so sorry for your loss and I'm praying for you and your family? I can't find any evidence of that. I can't. But he's on a plane drinking a cocktail with a guy who's a known member of a known terrorist organization. Cory Booker plans to travel to El Salvador, a source familiar with the New Jersey senator's itinerary said, as Democrats seek to pressure the Trump administration to return a wrongly deported Maryland resident. Now, I know Cory Booker. I've met Cory Booker. I've been up to his office before on the Hill. Him and Congressman Norcross and a couple of people, we were working on a couple of initiatives to try to help with the opioid epidemic. And that's how I met Cory. Nice guy, smart guy, Democrat. It was at a time in my career when I was still a Democrat, but leaning and not really aligning with the direction I felt the Democratic Party was going in. It's funny, I don't know if I've ever actually pointed this out before. I know I've informed you that I was a former Democrat, but I'm pretty hip to a lot of the ways things go, and the assumption that J.D. Vance would be the next logical Republican. I remember when it came to Obama, I thought to myself, what does the country look like to have Joe Biden after two terms of Obama, 8 years? And the Obama administration wasn't what I expected. I wasn't happy. But Joe Biden and some of the side stuff that I heard and, people I knew that actually are senators and are, they work in Washington. Let me just say it that way, is the easiest way to say it. And they were like, oh boy, we're not really sure about this guy. From the beginning, when he was running, like there were true signs that he was losing it. And I didn't align with him very well. I didn't align with the direction we were going in. Hillary put a really sour taste in my mouth. Just the whole thing. And I wanted something new. I wanted something different. I wanted to try to save what we still have. We're a great country. We're a huge world power, but not just militarily and everything. What we stand for, what America means, the message of what America means to the world has really been sullied now. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that through work, I get to travel to other countries, and I've made a lot of friends internationally in many different places in the world. And when I ask them about what they think of America, they're like, it's not the same. Particularly people my age, people 50 or up, because they've been around long enough to know what it was like when America really was respected a lot more and trusted a lot more. We were trusted more than we are now. It's like a big circus now, to people. I didn't want to be part of the circus. I wanted to change that. So Cory Booker, who I thought really, he ran in the primary. He got bounced, but he ran. It would have been difficult for him to beat the incumbent vice president, particularly when the machine got behind her and the way it happened. She wasn't really picked or elected. She was placed in that position because exactly how I predicted they were going to do it, they did it. Remember, I don't know, I would ask you, Jim Rickards and different people that predicted early on that Joe Biden would drop out, and he would do it in such a way that the delegates would select someone, or they would place someone in without having to run. I actually thought if they wanted to win it, and I've said this before, it would be Michelle Obama, which I think would have been a much closer race if Michelle Obama had decided to run, because it would have put Barack back in the White House, and he still has maintained a relatively strong popularity amongst the Democrats. And she's a lawyer and a bright woman. So what would that have looked like? Well, they didn't. She didn't want to do it. I don't think they wanted to pass on the war chest of money they're making right now. So why would you go from 3 million to 75 million in 4 years and want to be president again? So they're doing quite well, and they're going to stick to their act that they have right now. I think that act might change quite a bit as more documentation. If stuff that I heard is real, man, oh man, it's going to be really fascinating to see how much of these statements and what kind of documents they have to prove the statements that are being made right now about the Obama administration and about him personally. So we'll see. But Cory Booker, I cannot for the life of me understand. Cory, I'm talking right to you. What are you doing? Why are you going to, besides the free press and the whole circus act of it, why are you going to be involved in going to see this guy? You're also going to, you understand the law. You know this guy's not getting out. So is it the camera time? Is that what it is? And you think that helps you? You think enough Democrats are going to jump on that and go, hey, yeah, remember Cory was with us, man. Cory was with us. I'm not sure that's going to work for you. I'm not. I think the stuff that you were doing on the floor, and the different things that you're already standing for make you a legitimate Democrat who could flourish right now and get up, to the forefront of the top three now. I don't think this is the move that gets you up in that. It's a lot of free time. You're going to land in El Salvador as a senator. I'm sure Bukele is going to probably meet with you. You ran for president. He's a very respectful, smart leader. I don't know, for sure what his schedule is, but I would imagine, over this issue, he's going to meet you too. He's going to talk with you somehow. But this guy's not going anywhere. So is being affiliated and associated back in the state with an MS-13 member, or would it be better for you to do things to strengthen problems in the African-American community in New Jersey and nationally, to help on issues about how you would mend the relationship between the Republicans and the Democrats and try to work together on things that we can agree on? Those are the kinds of things that I think the Democrats need a real leader right now. So I was actually dumbfounded that Cory Booker is going to take this chance to align him with a gang member and a gang that has, committed atrocities all over the globe. I mean, violent murders and rapes, and you're defending this guy. I don't know, Cory. I'm not sure that was the greatest move. I'm really not. But I guess we'll find out. Maybe in the world of sensationalism, this is exactly what your career needed. I don't know. For Democrats, the Juan Abrego Garcia case is about fundamental American ideals, due process, following court orders, preventing government overreach. For the Trump administration and Republicans, it's about foreigners and gang threats and danger in American towns and cities. And that argument is precisely the one that Donald Trump wants to have. So think about that for a minute. These are all press releases from, a variety of sources: CNN, Fox, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS. So I Google it, and this is stuff that comes up. I'm not writing that. I didn't write that piece. Every one of these things I read to you, it's just like you and me. I Google it, I read it, and do I pick out ones that go in a direction that I want to go in? You bet your ass I do. You bet I do. You bet I have something to say. So, and I'm gonna wind it up when I get down to the end of the show and tell you what I think about this whole thing in a more Daniel Baldwin way. So, why does Trump want to have this argument? Why? Well, he wants people to challenge his authority so he can continue to point out why he's doing this. Why were they allowed? I said all along, why wouldn't Joe Biden, why wouldn't Kamala Harris, the border czar, why wouldn't they just implement 5,000 troops at the 10 most populated entry points from Mexico? Why wouldn't they send the National Guard down? Shut it off. What do you do when you have a flood in your basement? You turn the water off first. You turn the water off. You don't start pumping water out because more water's coming in. You got to shut the water off. Then you pump the water out. Then you clean it up, son. Then you find the pipe. You find out where the crack is. You cut the pipe. You replace it. Whatever you got to do. But you got to shut the water off first. All this stuff was going on. All these people were complaining. Live coverage of thousands of people running through holes in gates and the overwhelmed border patrol people that were down there in Texas, Arizona, California, Louisiana, like all kinds of places. They were coming in by boats. They were coming across the Rio Grande. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous levels of people coming in. They were being flown in from Venezuela. I mean, just nutty stuff that you couldn't believe. You can't write this in a Hollywood script. But I kept saying all along while it was going on, because it went on for years, why wouldn't we just shut it off? Like, let's just say no one's coming in. No one's crossing the border from that side coming into here, unless you have like a work pass or whatever, that kind of legitimate, but no immigration at all. Stop it right now. We're going to shut it down for 3 months. People thought I was crazy. How could you do that? How do you justify that? Do you understand what that would do? But Trump did it in 4 weeks. I mean, it went from whatever the numbers were to 95% less in less than 2 months, like a little over a month. Exactly what I said to do. Just shut it off. No one comes in right now. Got to have documents, got to come in the front door, got to register, got to, listen, you have to have a ticket to go to a movie. There's a guy that stands there and says, did you go over there and pay? Oh, no, you can't pay me. You can't come in this way. You got to go over there. You got to get on the line. If it's an R-rated movie, you might even have to show your ID. So there's a process just to go see a movie. There's a process. What would make you think you could enter our country? That we had what happened at 9/11. People came over the border from Canada, got into the country, stole a bunch of airplanes, and smashed them into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Now the formation of TSA. You didn't have to wait at the airport like this before. You didn't. It's forever changed the way we travel. Another governing body that overlooks us and sanctions us and controls us. And you can't just come over the border and come in. You can't be a murderer, rapist, or be affiliated with Al-Qaeda or MS-13 and just come into the United States. We can't have that. But that's what happened. 20 million people. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're plotting. We don't know what they're doing. We have no idea. We haven't even put in systems to track where they are right now. And we're trying to set it up and get these people out before something really bad happens. Before they get into the water system of a state, before they use some biological weapon or a suitcase nuclear weapon. You don't think these things are possible? They are possible. They are possible. These people are terrorists. They want to kill Americans. They want to do terrible things to our country. Holy crap, I can't believe that we sit here and again, I have no ill will for this guy. I have no ill will. I feel sorry for his wife. Did his wife not know who this guy was when she married him? Did she not see the tattoos on his knuckle and his knuckles, his hands, and his body and understand who he was? Who he was hanging around with? You police your kids and you say, I don't know if I like that kid. My wife and I had a long conversation about what we're going to allow our son to do and what we're not going to allow. And she asked me the following. She went, Well, if he was with someone and you thought the guy, you smelt it on him, this isn't Eddie Haskell. Look up Eddie Haskell. This guy's not a good kid. He's a problem. And your son starts getting in trouble and his grades are slipping. Again, these are his doing. But you as a parent, where is your, how far is your reach? When are you, we've gotten so soft as a society. I told her, I would shut that down. She said, so you would tell her? I said, yeah, I would tell him, you're not going to be with that kid anymore. Why, Daddy? I don't like him. That's enough for me. My instinct, my spider sense tells me this is not a kid that I want. And God bless him, I'm not judging him. I'm taking care of what I think instinctually is best, or whatever evidence has made itself known to me that leads me to say, I don't want you with this kid. You're not hanging out with this kid. That's it. You don't question my authority. They're my son. These people live under my roof. I take care of them. I feed them. I cook. I clean. I do it all as a father. My wife and I are a team. Yes, I have the authority to say that. Where was this kid's parents? What about the woman that married him and had children with him? She didn't know any of this, or is she part of it? I don't know. But one thing for sure, I have no sadness in the process by which he was moved out of the country. None. It's working. It has to be. We have to protect. Remember what I said. I looked up to try to find if this senator from Maryland has gone to anyone's home or gone to any funerals or anything for people that have been killed by illegals. Nope, he hasn't. But he's in grandstanding in El Salvador trying to make a name for himself, which guess what? He may have shot himself in the foot now. Because I think people in Maryland, I lived in Maryland. I shot homicide life on the streets. I lived in Baltimore. I lived in Reisterstown. I lived in Lutherville. I lived in Owings Mills. I was in and around Baltimore City, Maryland. Great state, great people. I don't think people are going to like that this guy did this. I don't care about the taxpayer dollar. It's like saying Trump plays golf and it costs the country $2 million. He's the president of the United States. Can you imagine that job that you get paid a few $100,000 a year, and he donates his salary, by the way. So you care that he wouldn't play golf? Go play golf. He's done more in the first 2 months than most presidents do in 2 years. Bills signed, things passed, action happening. Ridiculous. Today, Department of Homeland Security DHS Secretary Kristi Noem set the record straight about Juan Abrego Garcia in the light of misleading mainstream media reports. This was just one of those examples of an individual that is an MS-13 gang member, multiple charges and encounters with individuals here, trafficking in his background, was found with other MS-13 gang members, very dangerous person, and what the liberal left and fake news are doing to turn him into a media darling is sickening, said Secretary Noem. So there's an agenda here. Remember, Houdini's going to end up in the elephant's stomach on the stage over there. But he was flying in the air just a minute ago. How do you do that? So we're going to pound you with how bad Trump's administration is. And this is the guy. That's what's amazing to me about the Democratic Party. Who the hell chooses the stuff that they do? Like, there isn't some, again, there will be people and consequences to kicking the father out of the country and there might be mistakes. There are mistakes. Listen, in war, in military action, sometimes bombs land too close to our guys and our guys get killed what's called friendly fire. Do you think we wanted that? Do you think that the mission and the bombers that dropped the bombs with the napalm in Vietnam or whatever they do, whatever it is, do you think they wanted that? No, they didn't want that. But it's war. This is a war against something that happened to our country. This is a war against the administration that Joe Biden provided to this country. And what they did, they let 20 million undocumented people come into this country in 4 years. They got to go. They got to go. So will there be some unfortunate mistakes? Yes, and I think that the administration would be willing to look at that and say, hey, we made a mistake here. We need to make this right. Here's the other factor. Remember, I told you there were a few factors about this guy coming back. Now, let's say, remember, there are laws and rules. Let's say he wasn't an MS-13 member, right? Let's say he wasn't, they proved him They didn't prove him to be MS. He didn't have the tattoos. He didn't have the history. He didn't have the associates. He wasn't. He would have to legally, Bukele and El Salvador would have to say, we're okay. They made a mistake. They misidentified him as an MS-13 member. They would have to release him. He would have to come back. He's been deported. So he doesn't get to just go back home. He would have to apply. He would have to enter the country. He would have to do all the things I've been saying all along. You're welcome to come do. You're welcome to come do that. Unfortunately, he is not a non-member of MS-13. Unfortunately, he has been placed on a terrorist list because of his gang affiliation. So now, even if Bukele let him out, he's ineligible to come to this country ever again. He is out. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go to jail. Go directly to jail. Remember that one on Monopoly? That's who he is right now to us. He is not, it's not an option to come back here. He would have to apply for citizenship again, for which he is not eligible because he's on the terrorist list, because of his gang affiliation. So there is nothing. Now, could Bukele and them let him out to have him apply to go to some other country besides the U.S.? I'm not sure 100% of the Salvadoran laws, but I imagine they could. Who's going to say they want him? Who's going to say they want someone who's affiliated with rapists and murderers? So there is no passage to what it is that they're saying they want, and they know that. Booker knows it. Senator from Maryland knows it. He can't come here. There's nothing you can do to get him back to his family here. His family here should go fight the good fight in El Salvador, where he has gang affiliation, he's in trouble with them, and take it up with the administration there and the legal system there to get him out and live his life at home where he's originally from in El Salvador. He's never coming here. By law, he's never coming here. So what is this conversation about? Except that it gets you this free press. We're using this as a tool to try to slow down what Trump got elected. Remember, a majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump because he said he was going to kick these people out that came in here illegally. He wants them out. And most of us, more than half, said, amen, get them out. Don't hurt them. Don't cage them. Don't do anything inhumane to them. But as safely as possible, get them out. And the criminal ones, lock them up and get them out, for sure. Deportation is real, man. It's coming. It's happening right now. And it's going to continue to happen because we're not going to get hoodwinked by the Democratic Party who flooded different districts to try to change the outcome of elections. We're on to you. We know what's going on. We know what you're doing. And we're not going to allow it. Real Americans aren't going to allow that. The U.S. House of Representatives on Wednesday passed a proof of citizenship requirement for voter registration. Take a look at that. So you have to prove you're a citizen in order to register to vote. This is another checks and balance thing that Trump has implemented because we're on to what's going on here. We're on. So some people have said to me, whoa, I just saw a bird fly by. There's a bird in the house. Wow. How did he get in the house? Is he illegal? Anyway, we'll deal with the bird in a minute. So we're passing this law, and it says you must register, prove your citizenship to register. So before I even go down to the library or the post office or wherever it is in your town, I have to prove that that's a great step. That's a great step. That's going to stop a lot of the people that got over the border illegally and remained illegal. So just remember something. They remain illegal, so they're probably not going to be part of what I'm accusing the Democrats of doing and the Biden administration. They're not going to have the opportunity to vote because they won't have some kind of proof of citizenship in order to register. But how about this, though? What if only 5 million of them, what if 25%, 20% find a way to get some type of ID or whatever that allows them to? Do they deserve to vote? Do they deserve because they didn't get online? I go back to my education when I was a little kid, and learned about immigration and Ellis Island in New York and how the foreigners came over and registered and went through being detained with vaccines and all this different stuff, and you know how hard they fought, Italian Americans and Irish Americans that came to this country back at that time when they were building New York and so on. And I think to myself, and these guys walk over the border, they're given housing, money, health care, and they're going to get the right to vote. Women in this country that were born in this country didn't have the right to vote for a majority of the last century. African American who worked here, who were enslaved and brought to this country, didn't have the right to vote for a long time, and they resided here. These people are coming over and they want to be given the right to vote. They're getting a cell phone, they're getting a house, they're getting money, they're getting health care, and they haven't done anything. They didn't even register and fill out, what do they call that thing when you get to the guest list? You know, the guest, the book when you're the guest. I can't think of what it's called, but anyway, they didn't do that. They just came in. Can you imagine if you went home today? You go out the rest of the day. It's really early in the morning here. You go out and you come home, and there's like 10 people in your backyard, and they're eating your food, drinking your drink, petting your dog, sitting on your boat, whatever, wherever you're. Even if you're at an apartment in New York, there's people in your place, people in your building, people out front, camped out. Any of it. Could you imagine that? There's 20 million of those people here in this country right now. There are towns in Ohio. There are some places that are so overwhelmed with foreigners that has completely changed the landscape of the town. It's completely changed. They're so overwhelmed. New York City is so overwhelmed financially right now. Like you want me to tell a cop that, you know, we can't give him a raise because we have hotels, little tiny hotels, filled, these little hotels around the city. People have turned their residences into hotels because of how much money is available. And the city is paying to house these people because they're on the street. Because the last administration allowed them and bused them up to New York City. Put them up in New York. That'll piss a bunch of people off. That'll get a lot of attention. I don't know about you, but I'm so happy the way this is going right now. We need to clean it up. Let's clean it up. I've said it before, and I'll end it with this wound analogy. When you get a bad wound and it gets infected, you got to cut it open. You got to cut it open. You got to clean it out. You got to scrub it out. You got to use, iodine and peroxide and alcohol, and you got to probably use some painkillers for a while because of how much that's going to hurt to get all that infection and disease out. Then you got to close it up and let it heal. But you got to do the hard work. You got to do that preliminary stuff when it's infected. We're infected. This thing has infected us. It has made us so crazy on different sides of the issue. But it's clear where we're going right now, what the current president and administration are going to do. We're to continue to rip up that infection and gut it. We're going to gut it. But that's the term. This country is being gutted right now. And everyone seems to think that on the left side, they're going to point out that it's bad. It's not. It's fake news. It's nonsense. They're getting exposed for what they really are. And they're going to pay. There's people, I promise you, please listen to me. Please listen to this. There's people that are going to be exposed in the next 12 months. Man, wow, it's going to get really, really bad. For them, it's going to get bad. And you're going to say, really? That guy, that lady, they were involved in that? Yes, they were. Yes, and we're going to prove it. Watch, here it comes. Well, Mr. Garcia, I wish you well. I will pray for you today. I will pray for you right now and your family. I have no ill will towards you. I know that the Lord will forgive you if you'll turn your life over to him and you'll admit your sins. You have to admit it, and you have to ask for forgiveness. And there's only one way to do that, and that's through the acceptance of Jesus Christ in your life. So for you and your family, I will pray today. That's the end of the show. As you know, I end my show with prayer. So if that's not your thing, I'll see you on Friday. Lord God, we thank you so much. Easter Sunday was such a beautiful thing for me and my family, celebrating the resurrection and eternal life that you provide for us under your shield that makes us Christians. And God, we thank you and we pray for this young man, Garcia, his 3 children and his wife and his family, and anyone that has come to this country illegally that faces deportation. Please come back. God loves you and will protect you, and will find a way to have you come back and be part of this great country called the United States of America. Amen. That's the show. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Please, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, that you could hit like and you could share the show, subscribe to the show. The TikTok audience, you guys are killing it. YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, all the social media sites. You guys have just been so kind to us, and you make the show go. You do. You really do. You are the reason. So I thank you. Subscribe, like, and let's keep growing together. Praise God.